Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's exclusive analysis. Today is currently December 22nd. The market's closed here on the Friday, so we're just doing a quick little wrap up to see what transpired this week. Overall, and yet again, another impressive market rally. So the market's really closing on the SPY at the highs of the week. You can still see we're inside of this heavy reversal candle that happened on volume, but the volume in and around this area is picking up quite substantially. What does that mean? Well, that likely means that there's buyers but also sellers. So there's some potential distribution happening in this range that we need to be aware of. But the markets were impressive today. You had an intraday sell-off that came out of nowhere and then just a beautiful V-shaped recovery on the SPY. You're still inside of this hard reversal sell-off, but basically you gapped up there the previous day, the next day after that hard sell-off. Then you had another little sell-off, rally intraday to close the high. Then today you gapped up again and sold off and faded. Briefly went negative in the SPY and QQQ, but the market participants were able to buy the dip and it got absolutely bought right back up. So the big thing for the bulls is that they were able to close it above this heavy resistance trend line. You can clearly see this massive pivot back in August to this pivot high to that pivot high. That's where the bulls actually bought up this rally. You can see it hit support here on the low wick, and the market participants defended the sell-off. So right now, bulls are still technically in control. Now we have two massive trend lines. We have this 474.94 trend line, and we have this 480.80. This trend line, or this lower boundary trend line, which we actually pierced this week and got rejected off, that is the highest weekly close the S&P 500 has ever done in its history. I repeat, it is the highest weekly close. It's not the all-time high. The all-time high is up here, but it is the highest weekly close that the S&P has ever seen. So you can clearly see that is a big resistance level. We've basically tested it here once, pierced it, got heavy rejected again. Tested again here, rejected. So that is clearly a big level that everyone should be watching on their charts. A daily close above that remains bullish. A weekly close above that level, that is extremely bullish. But right now, you're still into some heavy resistance. It is the longest win streak since 2017 in the indices. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row. That is not something you see every single year. I'm telling you that right now. You don't typically see that often, 8 weeks up in a row, but an impressive rally to say the least. Let's look at the QQQ. QQQ piercing the all-time high this week, but it did not close. This is actually the highest weekly close the Qs have ever done in history, but it did not close above the all-time high this week. Perhaps next week it gets another attempt at doing so. But I repeat, that double top is still in resistance. But today, you did get the highest weekly close ever in the QQQ Nasdaq Tech Heavy sector. So definitely some strength continuing to show on the weekly chart. Now, again, distribution could be occurring in and around this wide range red bar. As long as you still remain inside this, traders have an epic short level to trade against. If you get a daily close above that, bulls regain control of this uptrend and could push this even higher, even though you are still overbought. One thing I will caution is you're getting a little bit of a negative divergence on the RSI. It doesn't mean we have to sell off, but it just means the trend is starting to weaken potentially. The IWM was the stronger indice today, basically piercing that huge reversal candle on Wednesday, but it pierced it and then got rejected at the highs of the session. If I remove some of these day trading lines, you can clearly see the IWM is trying to break out of this range. You technically speaking got a range break confirmation on the weekly chart. You technically had a breakout confirmed this week out of this downsloping trend line. Now, the big thing about chasing breakouts, you often are not supposed to chase breakouts. You're supposed to wait for the retest and then potentially go long. If this breakout is true, we should get a retest back to this vicinity over here. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for on the Russell 2000 index. Will we get that back test, retest to support? That is the entry. If you have not taken this trade, that is the long entry into the small cap indice. But again, super extended on the daily and weekly chart of the IWM indice. On that note, definitely stay tuned for my weekly sector review that I will be posting. There's going to be a lot of additional material that I have to cover on the weekly charts, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a brief rundown of the indices. Again, everybody enjoy the holiday weekend and basically have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. Happy Hanukkah if you celebrate that. But overall, tremendous price action for the bulls, and it's certainly impressive to see this market keep marching higher as people buy this Santa Claus rally into the year end. The big question is, will we see some tax loss selling that creeps into the market by January 31st? By December 31st. Time will certainly tell. Please definitely take a check of my tradingcapital.ca Discord. That is my website where I run a swing trading and day trading service. We have banked quite a few winners today and added to some key positions that I think are going to be profitable as we head into 2024. Take care, everybody, and hopefully you enjoy the holidays.